Hello and welcome. This is a first look at Aether Revolt, the draft format where we have 2 packs of Aether Revolt into 1 pack of Kaladesh. So let's see what we can do. First we open a rare. This is a Flying Raging Goblin. Oh, it doesn't have haste. Okay, so 1/1 Flying Thopter. And it's kind of like the Xantid Swarm. If you hit it, you can sack it and get the rest of your turn worry-free. Your opponent can't cast anything. Deadeye Harpooner, a good little revolt build around, and that's a lot of value. Kill a tapped creature when it comes into play. Hidden Stockpile, 2 colors, but it is good in a revolt deck. Nice little trick here, and some other stuff, but I'm going to start with the Deadeye Harpooner as one of the highest payoff cards. Shock is fine. Iron Tread Crusher, a large vehicle, but the 3 cost to crew is kind of a drawback. So yeah, let's start with the Harpooner here. Gonti's Aetherheart. Ooh, love to build around something like this, but it might not be what we go for in this particular draft. Perilous Predicament. Some good value here, and it is possibly in our colors. Hungry Flames, a solid removal spell, instant speed, and since we already have a dwarf in for our pick 1, I'm actually going to go for Hungry Flames here. I think it's stronger than Cruel Finality. We could just go aggressive while people don't know exactly what's going on in the format. Being aggressive does strike me as a good way to be. Siege Modification. This thing makes a vehicle into an unstoppable monster, and that's fine. Dawnfeather Eagle, on the other hand, is a 5-mana 3/3 flyer, which is already playable in a lot of formats, maybe a little bad in this one, but the fact that it's giving all your creatures 1/1 and Vigilance makes it such a swingy card. I'm going to take it here, and we can just focus on creatures after this. It's a common, too. That's another note, and getting past 3rd pick might mean it's open. Dark Intimations. We're so far from being in 3 colors, and the fixing is bad in this format. There are a couple ways to do it, but the easiest ways are to be in green, and that's not even one of these 3 colors, so go nuts if you open Tezzeret, but or happen to be in 2 colors. I think it's best to stay away. Improvise. Enraged Giant. Well, there are some early creatures that might make this better. There's also Countless Gears Renegade and another Dawnfeather Eagle. So those are the 3 I'm looking at in this pack. Emerald Gear Smasher, a fine way to turn on Revolt if you have some artifacts laying around. But yeah, this is a tough one. This thing does have Trample and Haste. I'm interested to see how good it is, but I don't want to be caught in a deck without enough 2-drops. So it's really between the Renegade and the Giant here. And I'm going to pick the Renegade. I'm going to go with the Renegade there. Prey upon, Sly Requisitioner, Improvise, and get some servo action going. Although, when your servos die, you don't really get anything for this, so it's not as good. Night Market Lookout, a 2/2 flyer, and Aether Inspector, which is not great. So to stay on theme, on color here, we could go Osprey or even Shock. And it's just a matter of how committed we are to red at this moment. I'm going to go with the Osprey. Flying is pretty amazing in this format. And with an aggressive deck, a 2/2 flyer, it could be something annoying for your opponent to deal with. Vengeful Rebel. So, solid removal spell, if you can reliably get Revolt down. Part of me does want to try to build around that because of that effect. The Specialist is nothing special. Another Dawnfeather Eagle could be strong. We might wheel one of those. So I'm going to hedge this a bit and pick the Vengeful Rebel. Can't be blocked by artifact creatures. That is a powerful guy for 2 mana, although the 1 toughness does make it, you know, a little weaker. Countless Gears Renegade, yeah, so do we want to be a more dedicated Revolt deck? We'll see if we can pick up any cards that make that a bit easier, but I'll take another Countless Gears Renegade and go wide and try to win with Dawnfeather Eagle or 2 if we can get one back. So now that we have 4 cards with Revolt printed on it, it does make us prioritize some little cantrip effects. We'll see what we can get here. Crackdown Construct. Yeah. Modern infinite combos aside, or I guess that's in standard with the land, that you can switch its power and toughness for 0 mana as many times as you want. Combos aside, what is going to be the best thing here? Destructive Tampering. This effect, this falter effect, combined with the ability to kill any vehicle or thing like that, I think that's a good sideboard card, if not a main deckable card. Alright, this is the pack we wheel, this is the pack we opened, and we get back Hidden Stockpile, which has a Revolt outlet, sacrifice a creature. If we go into 3 colors, we could even steal our opponent's creatures and then sacrifice them for pretty cheap by getting some kind of threaten effect like Wrangle. But in any case, I'm going to take that because we might be the Revolt deck. Perilous Predicament. Now I wonder how good this is. I tend to think it's pretty good in this format. There's a lot of times when your opponent's just going to have a creature, you know, and you have to get past it. And then often enough they'll activate their vehicle and they'll have 2. So yeah, I'm going to go with that over Decommission because there might be another chance to get a Decommission, and Perilous Predicament is such a unique effect. Also worth trying out. Emerald Gear Smasher. So, like I said, this is a good Revolt enabler, and that could be what we need. Fen Hauler, I suppose. Of note, any servo you make will help cast this, like a little Llanowar Elves for Improvise. Inspector, ooh, Resourceful Return. Yeah, a 2-for-1, kind of built into that. Interesting. Fourth Bridge Prowler. So when it enters, you may have target creature get -1/-1 until end of turn. This is a 1 mana Revolt enabler. You could just kill itself. I haven't seen that done yet, but it is a reason to play it. So you do that. Play the Rebel and kill their bigger thing. Oh, here we go with the next pack here. Oh my goodness, Untethered Express. This card is hard to beat. The Midnight Entourage is a little hard to cast, and you know, double black, and we don't have that many Aetherborn. We've got Vengeful Rebel, I guess, but it's not worth picking up here. The Untethered Express, there's also Daring Demolition, which is also kind of difficult to cast. But I'm going to go with the Untethered Express. This thing just wins on its own if they can't kill an artifact. And it's so easy to crew. And the double black part of this Daring Demolition makes it a little less appealing. So I'm going to take the Untethered Express here and see how that works. Wow. Ridge-Scaled Tusker. This card is kind of like a verdant Gear Hulk, like, or Verdurous Gear Hulk, or whatever it's called. Sometimes you cast a 5/5 and you put 3/1/1 counters on something, and that's 8 power and toughness for 5 mana. That is, and a lot of it has haste. That's almost too good to pass, but I think we do have to pass it here since we're so far from being double green. Malfist Revolutionary is another nice one here. Ooh, but in any case, I do like this card quite a bit. Well, maybe there's nothing else here. I mean, Frontline Rebel Renegade map. Actually, with the Revolt deck, we do need to prioritize Renegade map, and it could help us play 3 colors. So that's gotta be the pick here, just a free way to get it. My goodness. Well, that's our karma for passing a good green card that isn't in our colors. We get Battle at the Bridge, which is not only a pretty solid removal spell, you also gain the life, which is important if you're racing. So, too bad it's a sorcery, not an instant, but I think it's still just an easy pick here. We'll have to look at what else is here. Reverse Engineer, cool art, and great effect. The Poisoner is fine. I'm not in love with Caught in the Brights. This effect used to be more powerful, but there's a lot of bounce and enchantment/artifact hate in the format, which makes it a little worse. Ooh, the snake itself, Winding Constrictor. Can't be the pick here. More likely... Ooh, maybe Thopter Arrest or Deadeye Harpooner. I like Thopter Arrest because it kind of just deals with the best thing your opponent has, unless that happens to be a vehicle. But yeah, Deadeye Harpooner is a good one too. I'm going to take Thopter Arrest. Notables in this pack, well, not really. Gonti's Machinations. I suppose you can sack this thing as a revolt enabler. But Chandra's Revolution, this 4 damage spell that taps down your opponent a little bit, really is good on curve, like a tempo play, and 4 damage is enough to deal with most threats in the format. But I'll take this little Oblivion Ring here, this journey to nowhere, as it were. Now this thing, if you have a creature with a 1/1 counter, so it's more of like the green-black deck, not the white-black deck. So I'm not sure if that's going to be what do we want here. Conviction is a cheap revolt enabler and good on flyers and things like that. But I do want to prioritize creatures here to make sure we can finish out a game. Foundry Hornet, trying to think if we have any 1/1 counters. Untethered Express counts. These make servos, not 1/1 counters. I'll go with the Osprey here. It's not exciting, but it is a creature. And that's going to be important. Another Prowler. A Night Market Guard. Another cheap Revolt Enabler, the Savage Scuttler. Look at that guy. What does he even have on his back? I guess it's some kind of globe. But we could also take Destructive Tampering. I'm not in love with Aether Inspector. I think it's the worst of the cycle. Just like 2/3 Vigilance is not impressive. So I'll go with the Tampering. Okay, anything else good? Aegis Automaton for the late game. Don't really want to be the late game deck. I want to attack and win that way. Aerial Modification. Whew. Does lead to some pretty broken starts. It could be the Automaton. I don't really need a third Osprey. So, yeah, I'll take this in case we find something crazy to do with it. Oh boy, Atog. So the original effect of Atog, sack an artifact, this gets +2/+2. That could be something we're interested in, although we don't have that many ways to make artifacts at the moment. So it gets weaker, and Emerald Gear Smasher might just be better for that effect anyway. Ironsteed Crusher, is that what we want? Or possibly even this Night Market Aeronaut, a 3/3 flyer. Could be worse. I'm going to take the Gear Smasher just in case. That's something we're going to do. Wow, Daring Demolition Wheels. It's got to be better than Requisitioner here. And it's good. It means our deck is probably open. Decommission is also back. There's also Implement of Malice as a cheap Revolt enabler, but I'm going to go with Decommission because it just instantly deals with so many possible threats. Okay, what else do we have here? Eh, some other stuff. Tempted to take Gonti's Machinations, but I'll just go with the Osprey. We've got a bunch of those now. And we seem to have cut the colors we're interested in for the most part here. Daring Demolitions, Wheeling, and nonsense like that. So the big thing is to look at our curve here. We have a lot of early creatures. We need to get a few more here, but we've got a lot of early creatures and some mid-game removal. So we should be able to push through damage pretty easily. Inspiring Vantage to splash our red cards. That might be what we need. Acrobatic Maneuver helps out with the Revolt triggers. That might wheel, though. I'm going to take Inspiring Vantage here. Ballista Charger and Gear Shift Ace. We don't have all that many vehicles. We just have the one Untethered Express. It's easy to crew. It kind of does what it's trying to do. Anyway, the Dawnfeather Eagles didn't wheel. We only ended up with one of those. It's a little sad. But I'll take the Gear Shift Ace here anyway. It is 2 power, first strike, good defender early. And Self-Assembler, we only get 1 pack of these, although they do find any assembly worker creatures. And there's a inspired one from Aether Revolt with inspiration on it. Furious Reprisal and Eddy Trail Hawk. Well, we already have flyers, so it's not as exciting as something maybe like Furious Reprisal here. And what do we have now? 9th Bridge Patrol, Chandra's Pyrohelix, even Hijack could be good, although that's very heavy red. So I'm going to go with 9th Bridge Patrol. Maybe we get some action where we can bounce our stuff. Lawless Broker versus Maulfist Squad. The squad's pretty good. I do like the menace it has, and the Broker's also good, but the 2 bodies with the squad kind of pushes it over the top here. We have things like Hidden Stockpile. Decoction Module, 4 mana, pretty expensive, but I'm gonna take it here. Nothing else there was great. Doorbuster, Grubs, yeah, not much left here. Since I believe we're going to have black as our second color, not red. Kind of unclear. We could look at both decks here. Okay, I do like Sky Swirl Harrier. Happy to get that. See, the real question is how good are these Gear Smashers going to be? Not that good. Right, so we could splash red for like Furious Reprisal and Hungry Flames, or just not at all, if we have enough here. Night Market Lookout. I don't love it when we don't have a bunch of vehicles to crew, we just have the one. So, Renegade Map does kind of count as a land, since it's always going to find one. Decommission. Thopter Arrest. We have a good mix of creatures and removal, and a little bit of synergy with the Stockpile, which can help scry later. Evasion. 9th Bridge Patrol. We don't have a lot of stuff that bounces our creatures, but anytime a creature dies, 9th Bridge Patrol gets bigger, and we can kind of control that a bit with Hidden Stockpile. So this is a, not knowing the format so well, I'd kind of guess this is a medium Revolt deck. It's just trying to win by attacking. It definitely has some power. 15 creatures, 16 lands, plus the Renegade map. 4th Bridge Patrol, I guess. Wasn't there a 9th Bridge Patrol or something like that? Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. So I guess there's well, at least 9 bridges. And we've got creatures for 2 of them. So we'll be patrolling the bridges. I should note this is a competitive single elimination draft league. For whatever reason, they have these release events, and there's intermediate, friendly, and like competitive. So this is the top tier. We'll see if we can beat up on some people with our deck here. The last thing is to get this mana balanced, and we do look a little more white heavy, but our only double card is black, and we do have at least a couple early black cards. So I think I'm just going to go 8/8 in this deck. And do we get any swamps? Yeah, I'm going to take out a swamp for a different art, and that can be helpful if you want to tell if you would have drawn a plains there if you had a 9/8 deck, just as kind of like another data point. So yeah, that deck seems kind of neat. Maybe Alley Evasion is the last consideration to really change this. You can bounce a creature you control for cheap, and that makes it easier to do Revolt. But I don't want to take anything out at this point. Resourceful Return, maybe that's the cut for Alley Evasion, which is a little more synergistic with the deck. And if we go up against a grindy matchup, then maybe we put back in Resourceful Return, which I'm not sure we'd always have an artifact for anyway. Yeah, I like that change. So that's the deck here. Ooh. And now that I look at it, the curve really is favoring white early. So yeah, you know what? I'll just add another white here. So that's the deck, and I will see you in some matches.